5:30, right?
Okay, whenever you're ready, Nikki.
What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear that somebody is unemployed? Do you make assumptions about their character or their work ethic? The word unemployment has become sort of a buzzword, especially since the most recent economic recession, and this title quite often has an unfairly negative undertone. This title can also quite often lead to false assumptions about people who fall under this category. Today I'm going to address 3 common misconceptions about unemployed people and explain the inaccuracy behind each. The first I'm going to tackle relates to the temporary benefits that one can receive if they are considered unemployed. Many people assume that those who receive unemployment benefits take advantage of them and therefore are very slow to return to work or even start looking for work again. This is completely unfair to unemployed people, many of whom are in this situation by no fault of their own, and therefore cannot be assumed to all be idle like this. This is a hasty generalization based on the lack of character in a handful of people. That it assumes that because a few people might take advantage of these benefits, that everybody takes advantage of them. This argument has many holes that render it very clearly inaccurate. For instance, unemployment benefits are neither generous nor long-term. According to a 2012 article by Rick McGahey, weekly unemployment insurance payment only averaged $300 in 2010 and 2011. So they're clearly not meant to really sustain you for a long time. Also, according to an article from January by Danny Minnick, for the high majority of states, the maximum amount of time that you can earn on unemployment benefits is only 26 weeks, which is just half a year. So again, they're not meant to sustain you for a long period of time. Also, not everyone who's eligible for unemployment benefits even applies for them. According to the article by Danny Minnick, during the last economic recession, only 50% of eligible people even filed for benefits. The second misconception I'm going to address relates this group of people to another commonly marginalized group of our society, immigrants. It's assumed by so many people that an increase in immigrants will undeniably lead to greater competition in the job market for unemployed people. This is unfair for both groups of people because it creates an overwhelmingly negative attitude toward immigrants, even those who enter the country legally. This is an example of a false cause fallacy because it assumes that the presence of more people can only lead to more competition, when in reality that's not actually the case. When you look at the facts, you can see that an increase in immigration actually creates more jobs for everybody involved. According to a June 2013 article by Walter Ewing, the sheer presence of new immigrants encourages businesses to invest in things like new restaurants, new stores, and new production facilities. Also, according to Ewing, foreign-born immigrants are actually 30% more likely to start their own business than native-born people. Both of these scenarios create more opportunities for consumption, employment, and entrepreneurship for native-borns and foreign-born people. The last misconception I'm going to address has to do with people no longer being considered unemployed, but not because they found another job. Many people assume that once someone becomes what's called a discouraged worker, they leave the labor force and never again return to it. This creates an unnecessarily pessimistic view on being unemployed, and that's why this needs to be refuted. It's an example of a slippery slope fallacy because it suggests that once you lose your job and become unemployed, you will become discouraged and you will never again return to the job search. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in the field of economics, the labor force is what is comprised of people that are employed and unemployed, and that's it. It does not include people who are considered discouraged workers who are capable of working, but do not have a job because they have lost all hope in the job search and have stopped looking entirely. Because the unemployment rate only includes what is considered the labor force, an increase in discouraged workers due to an economic recession actually can make the economy look better if you're looking at the unemployment rate. If you look at this last section of the graph representing the last few years, the red line representing participation in the labor force decreases, so that's an increase in discouraged workers, right? And the yellow line during the same part also decreases, which is the unemployment rate. So as the red line goes down, the yellow line goes down as well, but that's only because when they drop out of the labor force, fewer people without jobs are calculated, so the unemployment rate goes down and it looks better. During an economic expansion, the relative prosperity leads to a decrease in discouraged workers, which clearly that wouldn't happen if this misconception were true. These are just a few of the many misconceptions assumed about unemployed people. It's very easy to jump to conclusions when you have a surface level knowledge on any group or issue. And so it's very important to educate yourself before you make any sort of false assumptions about people. Today I've addressed 3 common misconceptions about unemployed people, told you what was wrong with each claim, and supplied a counter argument for each. Next time you hear that somebody is unemployed, remember to have sympathy for them and get to know their individual situation, because everybody is dealt a different hand.
Sorry, I guess you got it.
All right. Yes.
I guess that kind of shows that the unemployment rate has dropped in the last few years.
Yeah.
I was wondering, do you think it'll continue to drop? And just so, like, how do people prepare for that sort of thing?
Well, by some of the research I've done, it doesn't look like it's anytime soon just gonna like spike back up, because this is like in this, this is 2014 right here, and like I don't know if you can see this last part, like this most recent part is like a very steep drop, and so I'm not super confident in that. I'm not in confidence, so we'll see.
All right, thank you.